Alright, so Dying Light has been out now for about 4 or 5 days, and I kind of want to give my first initial kind of thoughts on the game. I do have some kind of, not bad things to say about it, but some things that kind of bugged me about it, but mostly positive stuff, to be honest. I just want to kind of give my kind of general kind of impressions on the game for now, and kind of go over the gameplay and stuff. I'm not going to be going over the story yet. I haven't finished the game yet, but at the time of recording this, I did just get to the central loop, so a lot of story elements are going full center now, so I have an idea of what's actually going on. So yeah, I kind of want to leave my review of the story until I've actually finished it. So for now, we're going to go over the gameplay, the general kind of side quests and combat movement, stuff like that. Just general gameplay stuff rather than story. And just kind of talk about it. Some good things, some small things that bug me, but mostly pretty positive. So let's just go. Okay, we'll start with the combat. The combat feels really, really good. It feels very kind of similar to Dying Light 1 and Dead Island, you know, those games. Not completely the same, there is a few differences. But the combat does feel pretty good. It's a lot better against zombies than it is against people, because people kind of restrict you doing certain things until you get better upgrades and better weapons. But for the most part, combat's very smooth. The variation of weapons and stats the weapons can roll with is very good. I like how the weapon system is kind of random, and you can get a weapon that does one thing, and then later on you can get that same weapon as a better tier quality that does something else. It's akin to kind of random rolls in MMOs, you know, like you get a weapon that has a stat that says it's like 15% better against dealing with infected, and then you get the same weapon later on. It's like, okay, so this does limb damage more to infected and people. Like, it is random, so you can kind of find that perfect weapon that you want just from farming out the game and all of its activities. The mod system's pretty cool. You can basically have multiple on at once now. One personal favourite of mine currently is having a lightning tip of a weapon, which basically triggers on crits, which basically gives you a bit of slow-mo for a bit. And then a blast mod, which is a flame mod. This is stuff that charges over time, and when it is charged, you essentially like burn everything in front of you and sets everything on fire, which again does take damage, and it keeps the damage flow going. So this does lead me into kind of one of my issues with the game, and again, I haven't finished the game yet, so it could be in the game later on. I haven't really looked up if it isn't in the game completely, because I kind of just want to see if it is or not. But you can't repair anything, which is weird. You obviously find a lot of weapons lying around, and some are really, really good. Like, you'll find like a couple of artifact ones, which are like gold tier ones, and you'll kind of not want to use them because you know that they'll break eventually. Now, you can increase the durability of weapons through mods and stuff like that, so they do last longer, but once they're gone, which is kind of annoying. There are obviously ways around it with certain things you can find in the world, but it doesn't really count as a repair. It just kind of increases the durability length a little bit more rather than just fully repairing it, which is weird because it just feels like inevitably your weapon's going to break and you're going to waste so many resources and stuff trying to mod it and make it perfect, only for it to kind of just disappear not long later. However, with the skills you get through combat, there is ways around using your weapon, like not as much. There's a certain combination of skills you can get about midway through the game if you've done a lot of side stuff, which can basically not one shot, but it can get rid of a few enemies very quickly without you even using your weapons. I think the game does kind of ask you to use your skills a lot in combat because, again, it saves a lot of durability on your weapon, and it does make for some pretty cool moments as well. So you can kind of use your combat skills to finish fights and the environment to finish fights. I usually try and use my weapon as little as possible, just so that it kind of lasts longer, but I don't know. It's a weird idea. I'm sure they'll add things maybe later down the line that can give you an opportunity to repair your weapon or stuff like that, but it not being there right now is kind of weird. Now let's talk about the parkour. The parkour is very fluid, very fluid. As soon as you get enough practice with it, you'll feel like you're moving so quick. Again, it does get a lot better with the skills you can get. Obviously, you get like skills that can make you slide under stuff, run along the walls, do a little extra jump in the air. Basically spring jump, which is where you land and immediately you can get like a powerful jump off the floor. It does get better over time. At first it felt kind of clunky, but it does take some getting used to. It's a little bit different from the first game, but once you get it down, you'll feel like you're zooming across the map. Honestly, it's so smooth. Now, I do want to talk about the bugs and stuff. Apparently this is very prominent on other systems. Just to kind of give you a bit of context, I'm playing on PS5. I haven't really come across many massive issues yet. I've got stuck a couple times. It took a while for a quest to kind of progress. I've been kind of standing around waiting for it to kind of acknowledge the fact that I've done a certain part of it before it lets me carry on. There's one specifically right now, a bug that I have in my game. There's a side quest that involves you running through a dark zone with a douchebag, basically. And you get to the roof, and the quest finishes. But every time I relog the game and reload the game, it gives me the quest again. Literally the same quest again. And it does it every single time I load the game. So I've just kind of left it there now. Hopefully, you know, in the future there's a patch and it fixes it. Whether I just have to do it one more time to kind of get rid of it, or it just completes itself. Either way, it's kind of annoying just having it pop up every time, but at the end of the day, I can just ignore it, and it will be fixed over time, I'm sure. But no, I haven't really noticed that much in terms of massive issues. There's been a couple of things where I've seen through walls briefly, obviously with that repeating quest, getting stuck in buildings, stuck in cars, but nothing too bad. I think the other thing I can really remember is I apparently triggered a quest at one point through the game, and I was just running around. And I left the quest area and died. I didn't even start anything, it just kind of killed me. But that's happened once, so I'm sure that's nothing. Maybe it was just my fault. But yeah, bugs wise, on a PS5 at least, I haven't really noticed much. So I don't know what it's like on other systems, but for me, I haven't really come across many. But that's basically it, you know. I just wanted to really talk about the gameplay and stuff right now. I do want to make a separate video on the nighttime parts of the game, because there's a lot going on in the night and in the dark in this game. I do want to kind of talk about. Because I think the nighttime periods of the game is definitely an improvement over the first. There's a few things that are a little bit unnecessary and get kind of trivial after a few times running around at night, but you know, it's still fun. Like, it's still good. So I'll do a separate video on that. I'll do a separate video on the story when I finish the game, which should be soon. I feel like I'm pretty close now, or at least like 75% of the way through the story. I know it's not particularly long, the story at least, so I'll probably have that done in a week or two. But yeah, I just want to give my first kind of thoughts on the gameplay. I think it's very good. I think there's things that could be improved or could have been done differently. But, you know, overall, it's a pretty damn good game. Well, that's just my opinion. You know, if any of you have played the game yet, do let me know what you think. Have you come across any bugs on the system you're playing on? Are you playing on an Xbox or a PC or an old-gen console like a PS4 or an Xbox One? You know, how does it feel on those? Do let me know. And, you know, do you like the game? Do you think it's better than the first or not as good as the first? Because the first one is held in a massive high regard. Like, people love that game, and I am one of those people. I really do think the first game is really good, but right now I think the second one sits a little bit above the first one. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, thank you for coming by. Keep an eye out for the story review video and the nighttime review video. I'll probably do the nighttime one this week at some point, so that should be out soon. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.